Well, it's going to be interesting, and I jotted down some notes right here, and I don't think there's any question. This is my 23rd year as a head coach, and I don't think I've ever been in a tighter league. And you can take a look at the preseason polls, which they're just preseason polls, but how tight, how tight everything is as far as the voting, and it just tells you that even the coaches, we don't know. I'm trying to figure things out every year. I have all the goals coming back in the league, and the defenseman scoring coming back in the league. Then we have our own little matrix with special teams and and things like that. And I didn't even do goals coming back this year because nobody's sitting at over 100. Put it that way. And it's just an interesting dynamic. And I think our league, it wouldn't surprise me. You could have any one of the 8 teams could win this league. And it wouldn't surprise me if somebody that you might think might be 1, 2, 3, or 4 could take 6th or 7th. It just, who knows? It's a tight league. There's not a lot of probably, again, high end scoring like Mankato's had in the past coming back. Everybody has their starting goaltender back. I mean, so there's just a lot of variables that play into it. And I think that obviously makes it exciting for the fans. And, everybody's got a chance. Everybody's got a chance. And I think that's how you have to look at things. And as far as the Beavers, we're grinding day to day like we always do. And we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We're just talking about what we need to do this week and how we need to get better this week. And each and every week we're going to get more dialed in for opening weekend. And I think that's how you have to take things. Don't get too far ahead of yourself is probably the best way of putting it. And we have some losses that are some big losses. If you take a look at our ice time last year, Will Zamolik and Elias Rosen were 2 of the better defensemen, I think, in college hockey. One of them's going to be playing in the American League this year, and the other one's in the Swedish Elite League. And, those guys ate up 26, 27 minutes a game. So we had them on the ice in a lot of critical situations. Conversely, if you take a look, we've got 7 defensemen back. And Kyle Loft came back. He's our captain, a 5th-year senior. And it was nice to get his leadership back and his experience, and just basically, again, the stability he adds to our team. And, Eric Polkamp is coming in as a freshman defenseman. So we feel all 9 of our defensemen can play. And again, the two of them that we lost last year ate up a lot of minutes, but we also feel that we've got guys that can replace those minutes as well collectively. And I think that's how you got to look at it. It's more of a collective group. Our goaltending is experience. The biggest thing is scoring goals, and that's for a lot of the teams in our league. We have one guy coming back, Leighton Road. He had 31 points last year, and and then we have some other guys a couple guys that were injured, but some other guys that were, we have high expectations for them as far as stepping up, and we think they will. So that's all going to play out properly. But we like our team. We like our leadership group, and Kyle Loft is going to be our captain, and and Jackson Judding is. Eric Martin and Carter Jones are our alternate captains. So we've got a good leadership group. We've got experience in certain areas. We're going to have to elevate our game in certain areas, but again, everybody has that. So I've been in this long enough where you just got to let that play out a little bit.
All right, thanks, Coach. We have questions lined up for you. First, Trent Singer, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach Trent Singer with the Rink Live. Just to piggyback a little bit off of what you talked about to open that, a lot of teams, using the transfer portal these years, how does that sort of play into the ambiguity and the way everybody sort of sees how this league is going to play out?
Well, I think that's every team, the transfer portal. We didn't have anybody in the transfer portal this year. And again, it's not an easy question because you don't know how some of those things are going to play out. I think sometimes what you do in the transfer portal is you're trying to plug holes. And I can't speak for everybody else because I don't even really look at, like I said, this year, I didn't even do the goals coming back in the league. So sometimes with the transfer portal, I can muddy the water a little bit too. So I don't know the rosters probably as well as I should. I'm more concerned about our rosters, but the bottom line is, again, I take a look at the players who are coming back, the ones that we're familiar with, and it's tight. I don't know if I answered the question, but it's just tight.
Jared Roboto, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Jack. We lost Jared.
Oh, sorry. Hey, Tom, it's Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Just wanted to ask you about being able to host the Icebreaker this year with North Dakota. And it's sort of a different format, but I know it's the first time you guys have hosted it, and it seems like it should be a good matchup. Maybe ask you how that came about.
Well, it's the new format is how it came about, Jack. Obviously back in the past, it was at one site. And when you have one site, that afternoon game, you're going to have crickets in the stands. And, College Hockey Inc. and the commissioners, I think they just got together and realized that, we should probably have two sites and make sure that the sites are close in proximity and just flip flop what we're doing this year in the Icebreaker, where North Dakota and Bemidji are hosting it. Last year, Air Force and Denver did. So it just makes sense. Why not have two buildings with good crowds and good atmospheres and that are close in proximity? You're generating more revenue for College Hockey Inc., but you're also adding a lot of excitement for college hockey and the players. So North Dakota wanted the Icebreaker, and it just made sense that, we piggybacked with North Dakota because of how close we are in proximity to Grand Forks.
Thanks, guys. Jared, did you have a question? I think we might have accidentally bumped you there.
Yeah, I'm all good. Hey, Tom, it's Jared with the Pioneer.
Jared, how you doing?
Great. I wanted to ask you about Kyle again. I know you touched on him a little bit, but talk about those conversations of, getting him to come back for his 5th year. I chatted with him a little bit, and he said it was a much quicker decision than he probably anticipated after last season.
Yeah, those are always interesting conversations with your guys at the end of the year. I think we have one more year of this 5th year, the 5th year coming back. So, and I think the one thing you have to do is, especially with those, those guys that have graduated, that have exhausted 4 years of eligibility, you just want to make sure, again, you have immediate meetings with those guys just to find out where they're at. You want to get under the hood a little bit. Is there an interest in coming back? Do they want to hit the real world? Do they want to go pro? What do they want to do? And there's just so many things that play into it, Jared. And sometimes getting your master's degree, it's a great option to get your master's degree, but you also need to look at your own roster. How many spots do you have? It's just, I think the media do. The media, I once in a while I read it, the media thinks that we talk to these guys during the year. I don't. I can't speak for everybody. I don't bring it up till the season's over. Like, I think it's bad karma to talk about anything in the future during the season. So these guys obviously think things through. We obviously think things through as coaches, but you have to have some conversations at the end of the year. And with Kyle, it just came out. He'd be very interested in coming back a 5th year. And I think there's a lot of people they talk to. I know Kyle talked to, obviously his parents are number one. There's advisors. There's also other players that they have a lot of trust in that came back or maybe didn't come back. And I think you have to talk to those players as well. And every situation is different, Jared. Every situation is different. Some of it is like, what are you going into? What is your major? Is it advantageous to have a graduate degree in your major, or isn't it? So they got to think things through a lot. And I think he thought things through, and they're thinking that through during the season. They're not talking about it, but they're thinking it through during the season as well. And I think he just figured it would be a great opportunity for him. He's going to be a leader on this team. He can get his master's degree. Why not do it? He came in as a 19-year-old too. He didn't come in as a 20-year-old. So there's a lot of factors that play into it, Jared.
Tim, go ahead.
Coach, it's Tim Rapley from Flow Hockey. I'd like to talk about your freshman Eric Polkamp. He's got a lot of potential distractions out there. A recent NHL draft pick. This might be an audition for the World Juniors. How mature do you think he is to be able to compartmentalize wearing 3 different hats?
Well, I think he's mature. He knows where things are at, and you just got to play. You just got to play, and you can't worry about those types of distractions. I mean, he's already drafted, so that's, that's it's already in his pocket. So he's already drafted. So, the World Juniors, that'll all play out right there, and he's got a great opportunity, a great chance of making the World Junior team. I've talked to his coaches and other people, and he's right there. He's just right there, like a lot of guys are, and he just needs to play. And I think he's got the competitive maturity that to really to blank all that out. And I think his concentration is totally with the Beavers right here. So he's going to play a lot of hockey for us. And he's a heck of a player. And I think he's just going to be just fine. Again, he's got that makeup where he'll just be fine, Tim.
And then I think we have two more. Ben and then Jared. Ben, go ahead. Ben Shanahan. You're muted, Ben.
Oh, I don't know how I clicked that raise hand button. I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh, okay. Jared, last one.
Tom, one more for you here. You mentioned him a little bit, but Leighton Road, almost a point per game player last year during his freshman season. What does a step forward look like for him this season?
Well, it's like anything. Leighton's our guy up front. I mean, there's no question. I mean, he had 31 points last year. We play him in all situations, and he's our go-to guy. And I got no problem saying that. I mean, we all know it. And he's a heck of a hockey player. And we don't have a crystal ball, Jerry. That's the one thing. None of us have a crystal ball, and we can't sit there and say, oh, he's going to have this type of year or that type of year. None of us know. But the bottom line is Leighton does things the right way. He competes hard. He trains hard. He's great in the locker room. He's just he's your consummate, prototypical high-end hockey player. And he lets a lot of his talk. He does a lot of his talk on the ice, and he's a pretty mellow guy. He's a pretty mellow guy, but he plays the game with a lot of fire and a lot of spunk. And we're obviously looking at him from a leadership perspective. Even though he's a sophomore, we're looking at him from a leadership perspective on the ice, but also off the ice. He has a lot of intangibles that every team needs, and he makes our team better. And he's going to be just fine. We just got to make sure too that we have other guys step up as well, and we will. It's just people graduate, and it's somebody else's turn, and that's just the way sports is. And other guys are going to step up, but he's going to be just fine. He's going to be just fine. I can't sit there and say he's going to get this amount of points because I don't like talking about it. Again, I think there's certain things you don't talk about. There's certain things you don't bring up. You just worry about the process, and if you worry about the process, about doing things right, everything takes care of itself. So sometimes too much talk from a coach can obviously lead to maybe some frustrations with a player or players. So you just got to do your thing as a coach, do your thing as a staff, do your thing as a collective group, and honestly let things play out from there.